Hello yogis, and welcome to part 5 of yoga for a herniated disc and or sciatica. This is the Teide National Park and it's just really beautiful up here. This is not where I have filmed the sequence we are about to do, but I just thought this was more interesting to look at while I chatted than my garden. Today's sequence, we are again stepping it up a little bit more. There will be standing poses as well as a fair bit of mat work, working the glutes, working the back muscles, the quads and the hamstrings, really starting to try and build some strength during our recovery phase. You will need 2 blocks and a strap for this. It's a real mixture of some lovely long stretches to try to help those tight muscles, especially the hamstring on the side that's affected by the sciatica, as well as some more dynamic, hard-working aspects to the yoga. So, if you're ready to give it a go, roll out your mat and join me. We're going to begin our backs, but we need to get there safely. So I'm standing at the moment, obviously, as you can see. So come to the middle of your mat and carefully come down to your knees, keeping the lumbar spine in extension and the navel up and in. Then support yourself down onto your side as you turn onto your bottom and lower down onto each forearm, and then carefully come down onto your back. Feet hip width apart on the mat, knees bent. Bring that right knee in, squeezing it in, but be mindful. Keep that lumbar extension and really feel the sensations in the back. You can extend your left leg if you want to. That gives a nice stretch into the muscles at the front of the thigh and the front of the hip, our hip flexors. This is a safe way to stretch our back muscles without doing a forward fold. Bring the knee out to the side, still pulling it up. Breathing here. 5 breaths. Inhale the knee back to center, give the knee a squeeze, rotate the ankle one way and then the other. If your left leg is straight, bend it again so the left foot is flat on the mat. Grab your strap and bring it round the ball of the right foot and extend so the foot is parallel with the ceiling or the sky if you're lucky enough to be outside. Doubtful in England at the moment. Extend your left leg if you want to. 10 breaths here. And with each exhale, you may find that you can straighten a little bit more into that right knee, or not. Doesn't matter how bent it needs to be. By using the strap, we're not having to reach up with our arms to hold around the back of the calf or the back of the thigh, so there's no chance of putting the lumbar spine into a forward flexion position. Slow, deep breaths. Send the breath to where you feel the stretch. Navel in. If you've got that left leg straight, bend it again. Then come into our reclined pigeon. Right ankle comes across the right knee. Right foot is flexed, and if you want, you can bring the strap round the back of the left thigh So you can bring the left shin parallel to the ceiling and pull that thigh in towards you to intensify the stretch in your right outer hip and right glute. You'll know if you want to be there or not. Be mindful to make sure your lumbar spine is still in extension. Hence using the strap and not bringing my hands round behind the thigh. Try to drop into the body to feel the sensations you are feeling. And breathe into wherever you feel the sensation the most. Send oxygen to where the muscle needs it. On an exhale, bring the left foot back down and unravel the right foot. And let's switch to the other side. Squeeze that left knee in. Rotate the ankle one way and the other. And if you would like, you can extend the right leg. Still keeping that extension in your lumbar spine, so the lumbar spine is not rounding down onto the mat. On an exhale, bring the knee out to the side and still pulling it up as if towards the armpit. My right hand is on my right hip to make sure I'm not lifting the right hip up. Inhale, bring the knee back to center, give it another squeeze. The right leg is straight, bend back into that knee so the foot is flat on the mat, and place the strap around the ball of the left foot. Again, trying to get the foot as parallel to the ceiling as possible, with as much of a bend in the knee as you need. Extend that leg. Whichever side is your affected side with the sciatica, you will notice quite a difference in how you can't stretch into that hamstring. So treat yourself kindly. Do not compare to where you used to be able to do this. Just be in the now and know that you are helping your recovery. If the right leg is straight, bend back into that knee, come into recline pigeon this side. Left foot is flexed, pushing the left inner thigh out until you feel you've reached your edge. This may be enough, or you may want to bring the strap round the back of the right thigh and bring the right shin parallel to the ceiling and squeeze that right knee into you until you can feel the stretch. 10 breaths here. You want the level of sensation to be about a 4 to 5 out of 10, no more. Still being mindful of your lumbar spine. Mentally check that it's not collapsed into the mat. Navel in when you unravel, preparing for bridge, feet flat on the mat, hip width apart, might just be able to brush the back of your heels with your fingertips. Keeping the lumbar extension, inhale the navel in, exhale, lift up from the tailbone, and the mid back comes off, hands stay flat on the mat, squeezing the glutes. Inhale, bring the tailbone back down, exhale, lift, dynamic bridge. Inhale, lower, so the tailbone lands, not the lower back. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower, exhale, lift, inhale, lower, exhale, lift, really squeezing those glutes, keeping the knees coming in together. Hold here for a moment, put the weight into the left foot and extend the right leg up, and see if you can pulse 8 times, lifting those hips. Bring the right foot back down, lift the hips a bit further, put the weight into the right foot, extend the left leg and pulse again. If this is too much, just keep doing the lowering and the raising with both feet down on the mat. Return to bridge, really lift those hips. And inhale, come down carefully. The tailbone will land, not the lumbar spine. You're keeping that extension. Extend the legs. If you want to, bring the arms up overhead to enjoy a stretch. Bend into the knees. Roll onto one side so you can come safely back up to seated. Keeping the extension in the lumbar spine and the navel in. We'll meet in tabletop. Knees under the hips, wrists under the shoulders, feet parallel, navel up and in. Extend the right leg back. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower to touch the ground. Exhale, lift, inhale, touch the ground. 8 of these. Really working the right glute and the back muscles. Hold with the leg up, and if you want, extend the left arm forward and 8 pulses, left arm, right leg going up and down. Place the right hand back on the mat, bring the knee down and then lift the knee out to the side. Start working the abductors, the outer leg muscles. So it's as if we're cocking our leg. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. 8 of these. Working the glute med, the smaller glute muscle. Take a puppy stretch, hands to the top of the mat. Forehead comes down either onto the mat or onto a block. Knees over, knees under the hips, and just have a stretch and a rest. 5 breaths here. Navel in, return to tabletop. Let's repeat that sequence on the left side. Extend the left leg. On an exhale, lift. Inhale, tap down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, tap. 3, 4, 5, 6. Really working that left glute. 7, 8. This time lift and hold, and if you want, extend the right arm and pulse for 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Hand back down, bend the left knee, but don't bring it back to the mat, just beside the right knee. On an inhale, lift it up and out to the side. The abductor muscles, the outer thigh muscles, and one of our sort of gluteus muscles can become quite weak when we've been suffering from sciatica. So this can be quite challenging. Just go as high as you can. Doesn't matter if it's only a few centimetres. Exhale, return to tabletop. Another puppy stretch. Navel stays in to protect the lower spine. We've still got our lumbar spine and extension in this position. This is our resting pose. Inhale, rise back up to tabletop carefully. Curl the toes. Keeping that extension in the lumbar spine, rise up to kneeling. Place your hands on your lower back with the tops of your fingers just touching the buttocks, tops of the buttocks. Inhale, open the chest, exhale, into your camel back bend. The back bend is in the upper thoracic area. Keep those hips pointing forward, the pelvis pointing forward so the glutes are engaged, the thighs are working. 5 breaths here. Exhale, return to neutral. Navel in, carefully bring the right leg forward into a low lunge position. Grab your blocks. Pulling that right hip back while sinking into the left hip flexor, the left thighs and the left front of the hip. 5 breaths here. Now you might be ready to rise up into a crescent lunge. Inhale the arms up overhead, taking up space with the hands, they don't need to be touching. A more active low lunge pose. Exhale, bring the hands back down to the blocks, pushing through that right heel. Come back to your upright kneeling position. Keeping the navel up and in the lumbar spine and extension, come forward to all fours, and you can either do a half plank or a full plank. If you're in full plank, make sure that the heels are spiking towards the back of the mat, kneecaps are lifted, navel up and in, doming through the upper shoulder blades. Gaze down. Lower the knees, exhale all the way to the belly. 3 cobras, inhale, rise up, exhale, lower. This is so good for our backs. Inhale, lift, head and shoulders, exhale, lower. You'll know how high you can go, do not force it. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Navel up and in, inhale, push back to all fours. Curl the toes, come back up into your kneeling position, being mindful of your lower back. Step the left leg forward, keeping that navel up and in. Grab your blocks. 5 breaths in this restorative low lunge. Being mindful of the left hip pulling back. So we're keeping our hips square. And you can either stay in this restorative low lunge, or if you feel ready, navel in, squeezing everything into the midline, rise up into your crescent lunge. If you want to gaze up, then you can. Everything's working hard here. Exhale, come back to the blocks. Push through that left heel to come back to your kneeling position. Navel in, Keeping the spine in extension, the lumbar spine, come forward. Return to either your half plank or your full plank. Really building strength here. Yogi's choice, either lower the knees or keep the knees up as we exhale all the way down to the belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow. 2 more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, Bhujangasana, cobra. Exhale, lower. Navel in. Inhale, push back up to all fours. Come back to your kneeling position. We're rising up into standing now, so come into a sort of a lunge position first of all, and then rise up. Mountain pose, the top of the mat. Pause here for a few breaths. Notice how you're feeling. Heel toe the feet together so the big toes are touching and the heels are just a tiny bit apart, hands to heart center. Inhale, lower down into your chair pose, Utkatasana, but keep the hands at heart center. Do not extend the arms up overhead. That will start to put too much strain on the lower back. Make sure you can see your big toes between your knees. 5 breaths, working hard. Exhale, stand. Couple of breaths to recover. Inhale, sit back, so the weight is on the heels. Navel is up and in. Check you can see your toes, your big toes. 5 breaths here. Exhale, stand. Hands to your waist. Prepare for coming back into high lunge. Step that right foot back. Take a few steps to get there. Check your alignment. Hands either to heart center or the waist or up overhead. High lunge. Everything's working. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a couple of steps to shorten the stance. We're coming into warrior 3. Now I am on the leg that has been suffering with sciatica, so it is significantly weaker than normal. So just do your best. You may want to have a chair or something to hand because your balance could be off. 3 breaths and then step back to your high lunge. Step up to mountain pose. Take a moment here. Notice your breath and step the left leg back. Several steps to work our way back to our high lunge. Hands either to the waist, heart center, or inhale, the arms up overhead. Shoulders down the back. Check that the right knee is not going beyond the toes. Navel up and in, squeezing everything in towards the midline. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Bring that back foot in a couple of bits. Warrior 3 on this side. Keeping the hands at heart center, do not bring the hands up overhead. And this will not be as your warrior 3 normally is. Be where you are today. Step back to your high lunge and bring the back foot up to meet the front foot. Mountain pose. We're coming back down onto the mat, so a few steps to the back of the mat, keeping that navel in, back in extension. Squat down, kneel down, bring your hands back into tabletop, and then lower the pelvis down first, followed by the upper body. Forehead onto the left hand, bend into that right knee, catch that right foot and pull it into the glute. We've worked our quads very hard, so let's have a lovely laying quad stretch. 5 breaths here. Carefully release. Switch hands under the forehead and then grab that left foot and pull that into your left glute. 5 deep, slow breaths here, paying attention to all the sensations in the body. Release. Let's come into our flapping fish, Matsya Kridasana, our counter pose for all our back bends. Bring the right knee up, clasp the hands together, turn our head to the side and rest our head on either our forearm or our hands. 10 breaths each side. Enjoy this relaxing pose, counter pose. Carefully switch sides. Right elbow comes to the top of the mat. Left elbow pointing downwards. Left knee comes up. And breathe here. Mindfully come out of this position, and you can either choose to rest in Advasana on your front with your arms up overhead, or push back carefully to tabletop, keeping the lumbar extension, come on to our sides and then down onto our back, ready for Shavasana. I'm getting my blocks ready, so I can put a block under each knee to make this truly restorative. Palms up, legs as wide as the mat. Let the breathing return to normal. This is a great time to do a body scan, starting at the feet, slowly working our way up our legs. Is everything relaxed and heavy before moving up to our hips, our back, arms, shoulders. Is our face relaxed? Is the tongue relaxed in the mouth? And for these last few breaths, just really hold the whole body in awareness. Feel as if your whole body is breathing with you. Start to bring some movement back into your fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Stretch up overhead. Oh, lovely stretch. Big breath in. Bend one knee in at a time so the feet are flat to the mat again. Roll to one side. Navel in as we bring ourselves back up to a seated position that is comfortable, which if you're suffering with sciatica, kneeling is your best option if you can kneel. Inhale the arms up overhead, bringing down all that wonderful healing, recovering energy down to our heart center. Bow our heads to our hands. Namaste. I hope you have enjoyed this practice. Please leave me a comment below. Please click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, as I very badly pan around, showing you the view that I have. So we're now looking over towards Los Abrigos. Thank you so much for watching.